Simon Machell, who's the CEO of Aviva Asia, and he joins us for an exclusive interview from Singapore this morning. Good Monday to you, Simon. Let's talk about these results. It seems pretty impressive. 100% gains in operating profit here in the Asia Pac. What about 2010? How does this year look so far?
Well, good morning to you. Yeah, I guess 2009 started off by being a pretty tough year for us. But as the year went on, investor confidence started to improve a little bit. So I think we ended the year in a better place than we started. I would say that that's carried forward into 2010. Cautious optimism returning to investors. I don't think we're yet back to levels we saw in 2007, 2008, but it's improving from where we reached at the trough at the beginning of 2009.
Yeah, huge improvements, especially in the market of China. Let me point out some numbers to you, Simon. From it looks like from the earnings, your push to sell life and pension products in China increased 93% last year. Is China continuing to be the main focus for you in the Asia Pac?
Yeah, I mean, China is clearly a huge market with massive potential. I guess if you look at the merits of that market, it has a sort of a growing population. It also has great sort of economic growth, so therefore people have got more money to save. So if I look at it for the long term, you've got fantastic opportunities in that market. We're a relatively small player, but growing quite fast in that market. So yeah, it'll be a key focus of what we do going forward.
Yeah, and key focus going forward, you said the big growth area in the Asia Pac over the next, say, 20 to 30 years is actually sales of pension funds rather than life insurance cases. Why is that?
Well, I think if you look at the market in China, pensions is really in its infancy. The whole sort of concept of a pension and saving for retirement is just kicking off in that market. So if it follows the same approach that happened in a number of Western markets, that will become a huge market going forward as people think about how they save for their retirement and how they look after their sort of future welfare, really.
Well, Asia is pretty much the focus for a lot of insurers right now, Simon. Like, for instance, last week, we were mentioning that massive play by Prudential buying into AIA, that's AIG's Asian unit, for $35.5 billion. What do you think of this price tag? Some have said it was audacious, I think including yourself. Do you think they overpaid here?
I think it's a brave deal that they've made. In terms of the price, I guess that's a matter between them and their shareholders in terms of whether they think it's a good price to pay. I mean, clearly it'll be a challenging deal to do, but I wish them luck in doing it.
Yeah, but Simon, you said in this deal, in this Pru-AIA matchup, you said basically it looks like Asian insurance units are fully priced. You don't think they overpaid here?
I think to some extent it's very hard because there's no reference deals with which to compare it. So my view is the markets will decide whether the price is right or not.
And do you think that this really means some stiffer competition here in the Asia Pac to go up against, with Pru buying into AIA now?
Well, I think if I look in a lot of the markets, that they are the #1 and '2 insurers. So to an extent, them coming together doesn't make an enormous difference. It may even provide 1 or 2 opportunities for other insurers where actually the combination of the two comes together. So no, it doesn't cause me any issues. In fact, it may cause some opportunities for us going forward.
Okay, let me talk to you about the other big tie-up, or possible tie-up in the insurance space. Of course, we still have a lot of bidders in for AXA Asia Pacific. National Australia Bank making a play. So is AXA in Paris. You sold off, Aviva sold off the Australian business. So are you surprised that there's this big tussle right now for this particular player that also has assets in Australia?
To be honest, no, I'm not surprised. I think if I look at what AXA's footprint is across the region, they've got some quite attractive businesses. So therefore, anybody looking to expand their presence across the region would clearly go for that. I think I've actually said before that a number of the assets in Asia are pretty prized. So when they do come up for sale, it's going to attract quite a lot of interest, and this is no different.
And do you think this M&A activity in the Asia Pac is going to continue for a while? This is the trend to expand in this region, is that right?
I think there are clearly a lot of people who want to make a bigger play in this market. There are very few assets that come up for sale, so when they do come up, people look pretty long and hard at them because the opportunity may not come up again in the near future. So again, I think that situation will continue, but I don't expect a lot of assets to be coming into play because most people want to hang on to their Asian assets because they see the future potential growth in this part of the world.
Yeah, now, Simon, in a newspaper report back in the month of January, there was speculation that maybe Aviva might be looking to go in and acquire something in Indonesia. Has anything come up as of late?
I've really got nothing more to say on that. I mean, I think Indonesia is a market which is an attractive market. It's got in excess of 200 million people. It's got pretty good growth prospects. So I think, as I look around the region in terms of where future opportunities might be, Indonesia is one market. But I've got nothing to add to what I said in January at this point. Okay,
and what about the joint venture that Aviva was hoping to set up in Vietnam? Is that still in play?
Again, that's something which we continue to look at, but again, nothing further to add at this point.
Okay, nothing further to add at this point. So when you do have something to add, maybe you can come back and tell us exactly what that is, Simon.
Of course
before
I
we go,
will. Of course I will.
Excellent. 30 seconds here, Simon. Let's quickly talk about jobs cuts. Aviva was, basically firing employees in Europe and UK. What about here in Asia? Are you adding people?
Yeah, I think as our business here expands, and actually we've been expanding reasonably well over the last couple of years, we've been taking on people. And I would expect that sort of process to continue. I think the situation in Europe and the UK is actually we've got some quite old businesses who've actually got quite a lot of old systems, old infrastructure, and as those things improve, the ability to take people out actually looks better.
Thank you, Simon.
Thank